So this dog comes into the shop one day, right?
Oh, not this again.
Oh, hush, Cowell, I've not heard this one.
Aye, had you what I eat? Anyway, this dog comes into the shop, right? Beautiful border collie she was. So she trots up to the counter and just looks at us. Aye, what do you want, I says.
You've got some way with customers, you.
Oh, do I come down the quarry and tell you how to split rocks?
You do not. I'm sorry. Please continue with your story.
Right, so this dog, she comes up to the counter where the steak's kept, starts pawing away at it. So I says, is it sirloin you're after? And she nods her head, right? So I says, well, how many pounds? She barks twice. So I weighs out 2 pound of steak meat, right? And I says to her, anything else I can do for your pet? No word of a lie. She trots out to where the pork's kept and barks 4 times.
Okay, let me get this straight. This dog has ordered 2 pounds of steak meat and 4 pork chops.
That's right, so I've weighed out...
Hang on, how big's this dog?
How big's a border collie?
I'm just saying it's ordered 2 pounds of steak meat and 4 pork chops.
Wait.
Must be quite a big border collie.
I bet you had pups. That'll be what the chops were for. And a pound of steak each for her and the dad.
Need I remind you we're on a steak out here, not a lad's night out.
Oh, I get it. Steak out.
Don't make me throw something at you, lad. The only things I can find in here are very, very sharp.
Perhaps you should continue with your story.
Aye. Well, good. So anyway, right, this dog has ordered 4 pork chops,
And 2 pounds of steak meat.
and 2 pound of the premium sirloin, yes. Right,
Do you think that's him?
come on, hide.
Sutton, please stop sharpening that knife. Now, Cowell. We have you now, sir. Tell us who you are and why we shouldn't hand you over to the police, and stop struggling so we can talk.
Get off me, you villain!
I know that face.
I'm not following you, don't.
Oh, for the Lord's sake, don't behave badly to him.
I don't want to kill him.
Patterson!
Come on! You are behaving badly to a man!
Patterson! You sod!
Get out, lad. Come on.
Patterson! Say something! Patterson!
Gentlemen of the jury, it is my duty to advise you on how you should vote when you retire from this court. That the defendant is indeed the man who broke into the premises of the Windy Nook Cooperative on the 31st of October can scarcely be in doubt. It is remarkable that there are 8 or 9 pieces of circumstantial evidence that all point to the guilt of the prisoner in this regard. While some evidence is weak, some is strong. I would like to draw your particular attention to the injuries sustained on the defendant's head. All are consistent with eyewitness testimonies to the event, while the defendant's claims that these injuries were sustained at work are entirely unsubstantiated. In a court of law, I see no reason why this case should not be tried as murder. The defendant was clearly engaged in a felonious enterprise, having broken into a shop after dark, in disguise, and armed with a revolver. The men who stood watch that night had a right in law to use violence in pursuit of his arrest. The only way I see this being tried as manslaughter would be if the violence were used in some unlawful way. You are now to retire to carefully consider your verdict.
I have not much hope. In an hour or so they will find me guilty. For 50 years I never hurt anyone. But for the events of one night, it will condemn me. And it will cost me my life. What can I say? That I'm innocent? That I wasn't in the shop the night of the murderous deed? I have said as much. And at great length, and yet here we are. Penal servitude would be a morbid existence. Better to die than to live life like that. My only wish now is that my wife and children may live happily together. I can truthfully say that none of the ropes in Durham jail will daunt me if I could but know that my family will be all right. This too is folly, I know. Better to focus on the meal in front of me than on all the Sunday dinners that I'll never see. Blessed are they who expect nothing, for if they receive nothing, they'll not be disappointed.
Gentlemen of the jury, have you reached a verdict on which you were all agreed?
Yes, my lord.
On the case of murder, do you find the defendant guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Very well. Do you have anything to say as to why the sentence of death should not be passed upon you?
I would like to say a word or two. I might say that I am innocent of the crime with which I am charged. I must confess that I did not hear everything you said in your summing up. However, I cannot say that I need say thank you for your remarks.
Do you wish to say anything else?
No, my lord. Only, you might break my neck, but you won't break my heart.
The jury have found you guilty of the murder of John Patterson, upon evidence which no doubt seemed quite clear to them. I must say, for me it is the same. Accordingly, the sentence of death is imposed upon the defendant, Joseph Noble. Take him away.
Thanks, Tommy. Cheers, lads.
Good evening, gentlemen. If I may borrow a moment of your time?
Of course. What's the matter? Are you lost?
Oh, no, but I do speak for those who you may describe as lost, cast out by cruel circumstance.
Oh, here we're gone. What is it? Spit it out, pet.
You will, of course, have heard of the Windy Nook tragedy.
Aye.
And while, quite correctly, provision has been made for the widow and children of the victim, Mr. Patterson...
Of course.
No such provision has been made for the widow and surviving family of the murderer, Mr. Noble.
Are you all right in the head? You've come in here to ask for charity for his lot. Tell her to sell all the gear had been thieving. The police said the place was full of the loot when they were raiding it.
Well, that's as may be, sir, but Mrs. Noble had no hand in acquiring the property, and even if she did wish to sell it, she no longer has access to it. It's been seized by the police as evidence.
Aye, well, she should have thought that before she fell in with a scoundrel.
Oh, how weird, man. How was she to know what he was getting up to at night?
Oh, she knew, man. I can't say hello to a lassie without the wifey finding out.
That's because you cannot say hello to a lassie without dribbling all over yourself, you daddy.
Gentlemen, if I may, Mrs. Noble has 2 children to look after. She has committed no crime. She's done nothing wrong, and yet she finds herself unable to support her family. This whole affair has borne a heavy burden on her both bodily and mentally. All we ask is a small amount of Christian charity. A small donation now may help her to find employment.
No.
I beg your pardon?
You heard me. This is the type of nonsense that got Patterson killed in the first place.
Whoa, what are you saying? That Patterson deserved to die? For what? Decency?
Naivety. And no, he didn't deserve to die, but he had no reason being there if all he wanted to do was talk to the bloke. I mean, how do you talk to a bloke like that? All this fine stuff about humanity has condemned that family to a life of penury.
Look, the co-op will do right by them, Benzel. One for nought.
Aye, except their father.
Well.
And you can sling your hook.
Oh, sir.
Oh, all right, son.
man.
Hey, all right, come on. Up you get. You all right? You get that.
It's my fault. It's my fault. It's all my fault.
Okay, son, well, whatever you've done, there's need to make a show of yourself, all right? How about we get you tucked up in bed?
I can't sleep. I can't sleep since it happened. I was there. I was there at the co-op when...
Oh, you poor boy.
I could have done something to stop it. Then maybe Patterson would still be alive.
Oh, aye. And what would you have done? Got yourself killed as well?
Maybe. When I think about that poor children growing up without their father, I think anything would be better than living like this.
All right, that's enough. Go on. Sit yourself down. Look, you did what was yours to do, right? Couldn't have asked any more than that. I know it's hard now, but life goes on, even after something as horrible as this.
Not for Patterson. And not for me. I can't get past that night. I know I could have done something. You don't know. You weren't there. I froze. When we had him, I just stood there. If I'd done something, then...
All right, son, let's just play the whole thing out, all right? You're back at the co-op. You're waiting on Noble. Then what?
Well...
Anyway, so this dog walks into the shop, right? Beautiful border collie she was. And she comes up to the counter. Aye, what do you want, I says.
You've got some way with customers, you.
Oh, do I come down the quarry and teach you how to split rocks, boss?
You do not. I'm sorry, please continue with your story.
Anyway, so this dog walks in, she comes up to the counter where the steaks are kept, right? And she starts pawing away at it. So I says, is it sirloin you're after? And she nods her head, right? So I goes, wait, how many pounds? And she barks twice. So I weighs up the 2 pound of steak meat, right? And then I says, anything else for you? No word of a lie, she trots over to where the pork's kept and barks 4 times. Shh! Did you just shush me, lad? Let's not forget who the apprentice is here, right?
We need to stay quiet. He could be here any minute. We don't want to spook him.
Who doesn't?
We don't. And Cowell's right, we should keep it down, but it's a long time to sit in silence. Hang on, let me get this straight. So this dog has ordered 2 pounds of steak meat and 4 pork chops.
Aye, that's right. So,
Well, hang on, how big's this dog?
What? How big's a border collie?
I think I can hear him.
Listen, don't make me throw something at you, lad. Only things I can find in here are very, very sharp.
Perhaps you should continue with your story.
Aye. Well, good. Right, so, this dog has ordered 4 pork chops, you see?
And 2 pounds of steak meat.
And 2 pound of premium sirloin, yes. So...
It's the burglar.
Shh! Come on, hide. Get yourself back there.
Sutton, please stop sharpening that knife. Now, Cowell. Come here, you. We have you now, sir. Tell us who you are and why we shouldn't hand you over to the police and stop struggling so we can talk.
Let go of me, you villains!
This is the moment. If I'd acted here, I could have saved Mr. Patterson, saved Noble even.
Oh, aye. And what would you have done?
Well, this is when Sutton starts beating away on Noble, and it's only then that Noble pulls out his gun.
Right, so you think if you could have stopped Sutton from hitting Noble, he would have just wriggled free and run off?
Perhaps.
Perhaps you should have helped Sutton before Noble had a chance to pull his gun. I mean, whose side are we on here?
Well, Mr. Patterson's, obviously.
Look, it's your choice, lad. Which way do you want to go?
I'm not sure.